now I'm going to call up 7 leaders of seven different state agencies to give you a very brief explanation of what their particular agency does. There are more than 7 that are involved in this process, but we're calling up these 7. First is the Health and Human Services Commissioner, Cecily Young.
Good afternoon. I'm Cecily Young, and I'm the Executive Commissioner at the Health and Human Services Commission. We do Medicaid, CHIP, and SNAP, and we have eligibility assistance available at the Family Assistance Center, and we'll continue to have eligibility assistance available on an ongoing basis once we move into the next phase of this. Additionally, as the governor mentioned, we have an 888 number. It's for mental health services. It's 888-690-0799. This is run by the Hill Country Local Mental Health Authority. So it is local. It is a 24-hour, 7 days a week call center that is able to connect people with services, with counseling, medication, counseling services, and telepsychiatry services. And they will be able to ensure that anyone in the community that calls in will be connected to other available mental health services. So it is a way to triage, again, to try to make it as easy as possible for the members of the community.
Thank you. Next is the Texas Department of Insurance Commissioner, Cassie Brown.
Good afternoon. I'm Cassie Brown. I serve as the Commissioner of Insurance for the Texas Department of Insurance. TDI is here to ensure that insurance companies are appropriately and quickly handling claims. What our department does is oversee the health insurance as well as the workers' compensation insurance claims. So if you are going to, if you're a private sector employee, if you're a public sector employee, those employed by the school district or those first responders, they're going to have workers' compensation coverage. Private sector employees should check with their employer to see if they carry workers' comp. Workers' comp covers mental illness and PTSD, so please make sure that you are taking advantage of that benefit for you. We have staff available at the Fairplex Center to help you start the process for processing your workers' compensation claims and to explain all the benefits that are available to you under the system. Thank you.
Thank you. And now from the Teachers Retirement System, Brian Guthrie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Guthrie. I'm the Executive Director of the Teacher Retirement System of Texas. We are here today to not only help the families of the 2 teachers who tragically lost their lives and provide them the benefits that they are due, but also to help all the employees of not only this school district, but all the surrounding school districts to make sure that they have access to mental health and behavioral health services. We also recognize that not all the employees of these districts are members of our system and are for our health care program, but we want to thank our partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield and Teladoc, for extending those benefits to everyone who's employed in this district or any of the surrounding districts. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for the Texas Employees Retirement System, Porter Wilson.
I'm Porter Wilson, the Executive Director of the Employees Retirement System of Texas. We provide retirement benefits, but more importantly here, health insurance benefits to state employees, but also to employees of higher education in the community. So the local community college employees will get health insurance from Health Select of Texas, which is provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. And we've activated a 24-hour crisis hotline to help connect medical and mental health services, and we have that information available on the flyer.
Thank you. And now from the Texas Workforce Commission, Ed Cerna.
My name is Ed Cerna. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Workforce Commission. The Workforce Commission has a local presence on Main Street in our local Workforce Development Office, and through that office we'll provide child care services for not only the families of the victims, but also anyone who is associated in the school or first responders. We'll also look to protect any TANF or SNAP benefits that an individual is receiving. so that they don't lose those benefits because they're unable to work or to continue their training. We'll also assist with anyone needing priority concerning unemployment insurance or businesses that need assistance during this time. We're available locally, so please, and we're also out at the Assistance Center as well. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. And now the head of the TDHCA.
Good afternoon. I'm Bobby Wilkinson. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. We have a very flexible pot of grant funding that we're funding our local partner, the Community Council of South Central Texas. They have a field office here. They're at the Family Assistance Center. They're already passing out grocery and gas cards. They can help with lodging expenses, even some extended family. Maybe your grandma or someone's here and she needs help with gas, with lodging, etc. It's very flexible, and we're looking forward to helping as many people as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. And last is the head of the Texas Education Agency, Mike Morath.
Thank you. TEA has been working in close coordination with the school system. I want to say thank you publicly to Hal Harrell for your leadership and for the work that all of our educators have done. The agency provides support directly in the form of grant funds. We have offered supplemental counseling services. Those counseling services have been provided really around the clock and since this began, and will continue to provide support as the school district prepares its responses for both summer and this fall.
Thank you. So once again, whether it be the services you heard about or there are many more that we talked about earlier, providing briefing to local officials, the state of Texas has robust resources to ensure that these families who have been devastated by this horrific crime, as well as the entire community, we will be able to help them with any and all of their needs. I cannot overemphasize enough that everybody, students, teachers, law enforcement, everybody in this community, please avail yourself of absolutely free mental health care. It'll pay off in the long run. With that, I'll be happy to take a few questions. Go ahead. Sure. So, I'll directly answer your questions. Before I start answering questions unrelated to the discussion that we've had about the benefits that we're providing to the community, let's take those questions first. I'll come back to you first. Go ahead. I'm going to put you second in the queue. Let me make clear, maybe I wasn't clear. Before I start taking questions unrelated to the benefits that we're providing to the community, we have an obligation as a state to communicate to the people of this community the benefits that are available to them. Their lives are crushed. They have no idea what's going on. They may have no idea whatsoever how they're going to pay a bill. Let me give you an easy example of something explained to me. There was a parent who lost some glasses that were crushed in everything that happened. And he told someone he had no money to pay for it. We have money to pay for that stuff. There are people who have no idea about getting food. We have money that can buy them food. Let's discuss, if you have any questions about these benefits. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. But if there's anybody here, sure, and I'm going to be answering that, and that's his. No, I'm going to fully answer it, because that's what he asked, and I told him I'm going to answer his question first. Hold it. I understand. Is there anybody here who has any question about the benefits that are being provided to anybody here who's suffered because of this crime? There are no hands going up. All right. So let me answer your question. So your question. No, I remember it. Short answer, yes. I was misled. I am livid about what happened. I was on this very stage 2 days ago, and I was telling the public information that had been told to me in a room just a few yards behind where we're located right now. I wrote down hand notes in detail about what everybody in that room told me in sequential order about what happened. And when I came out here on this stage and told the public what happened, it was a recitation of what people in that room told me, whether it be law enforcement officials or non-law enforcement officials, whatever the case may be. And as everybody has learned, the information that I was given turned out in part to be inaccurate. And I'm absolutely livid about that. And here's my expectation. My expectation is that the law enforcement leaders that are leading the investigations, which includes the Texas Rangers and the FBI, they get to the bottom of every fact with absolute certainty. There are people who deserve answers the most, and those are the families whose lives have been destroyed. They need answers that are accurate, and it is inexcusable that they may have suffered from any inaccurate information whatsoever. And it is imperative that the leaders of the investigations about exactly what happened get down to the very second of exactly what happened with 100% accuracy and explain it to the public, but most importantly, to the victims who've been devastated. He had a backup question, and I'm coming to you next. My expectation is that as we speak and every minute going forward, law enforcement is going to earn the trust of the public by doing exactly what they're supposed to do from this point on, and that is making sure that they thoroughly, exhaustively investigate exactly what happened and explain to you and the public and the victims of the crime exactly what happened. I told this guy I was coming to him next. Sure. Well, let me answer your second question first, and then I'll answer your first question. So in your second question, you talked about the rollback of any of the legislation that I signed this past session. Let's be clear about one thing. None of the laws that I signed this past session had any intersection with this crime at all. No law that I signed allowed him to get a gun, the gun that he did get. And so, again, there was nothing about the laws from this past session that has any relevancy to the crime that occurred here. With regard to special session, let me just say this, and that is, first of all options are on the table. Second, most importantly, to your point, do we expect laws to come out of this devastating crime? The answer is absolutely yes. And there will be laws in multiple different subject areas. For example, I do fully expect to have every law that we pass in the aftermath of the Santa Fe shooting to be completely revisited. And first, we need to gain the information about exactly what happened at the school to find out the extent to which those laws were complied with, to the extent that they were not complied with, to find out what shortcomings allowed this travesty to occur. Then second, we need to have a discussion and pass laws to make sure that our schools are safer. And the people of Uvalde, but the people of Texas deserve that. Second, as I was discussing 2 days ago, you can expect robust discussion, and my hope is laws passed that I will sign addressing health care in this state. There is an array of health care issues that we face as a state in general, but there are an array of health care issues that relate to those who commit gun crimes in particular. Those need to be addressed, whether it be the health care issues that I talked publicly here with the mayor about 2 days ago and that would affect the community in general, or whether it be laws that address the challenges that are now surfacing that this killer had in his life that lead to someone doing what he did. And then there will be all other kinds of issues. But there will be committees formed, there will be meetings held, there will be proposals that will be derived, many of which will lead to laws that will be passed in the state of Texas. Because let me make one thing perfectly clear. The status quo is unacceptable. This crime is unacceptable. We're not going to be here and talking about it and do nothing about it. We will be looking for the best laws that we can get passed to make our communities and schools safer. Go ahead. Let's be clear about a couple of things that show that these background checks, if everyone wants to seize upon a particular strategy and just assume, well, that's the golden strategy right there. Look at what happened in the Santa Fe shooting. A background check had no relevancy whatsoever because the killer took the gun from his parent. Look at what happened in the shooting in Sutherland Springs. There was a background check that was done. It was done in a flawed way that allowed the killer to get a gun. And so anyone who suggests, well, maybe we should focus on background checks as opposed to mental health, I suggest to you is mistaken. If there's anybody here who thinks we have perfect health care in this country, in this world, they're wrong. If there's anybody who thinks that we can't do more to address mental health care, they're wrong. They can. We can. And we're going to. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. What I've been told about that is several things. One is that this is an ongoing investigation and that there have been obviously new facts and information surfaced, revealed as a result of that investigation that are different today than they were 2 days ago. Second, there will be ongoing investigations that detail exactly who knew what when, who was in charge of what strategy, why was that particular strategy employed, why were other strategies not employed. Bottom line would be, why did they not choose the strategy that would have been best to get in there and to eliminate the killer and to rescue the children? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Would you consider a banning of
Go ahead.
18 years old buying AR-15? Governor, please. Would you consider? Yes, this is me, Antonio, from Univision. Thank you.
Antonio, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Just in a very respectful way, Governor, would you consider, this is a kid 18 years old, would you consider at least a bank, an 18 years old, being able to buy a AR-15? That's all I'm asking.
So it's my understanding that ever since Texas has been a state, an 18-year-old has had the ability to buy a long gun, a rifle. Right. And since that time, it seems like it's only been in the past decade or two that we've had school shootings. So for a century and a half, 18-year-olds could buy rifles, and we didn't have school shootings, but we do now. Maybe we're focusing our attention on the wrong thing, and we're focusing it on.
I'm not doing a political.
You know,
My colleagues are asking for a special session. You're getting a letter tomorrow. In the caucus, the Senate Democratic caucus. We've asked for gun control changes. I'm asking you now to bring this back in 3 weeks. I apologize for interrupting your press conference about the needs of this community. I've been here for 3 days. With all of these elected officials, this county judge has worked his ass off. The mayors and city council people. I don't know how to express the loss of the families that I've talked to. And I know you feel it too. We have to do something, man. My own colleagues are telling me, calling me, telling me an 18-year-old should have a gun. This is enough. Call us back, man.
next question. I can't hear you. Speak up.
On that earlier question about the Uvalde consolidated school district with eight-hour gun driver, are you specifically investigating what is the status of his employment? Has he been stood down under investigation?
Can I was unable to hear the first part of your question. Would you restate it?
On the school's police check, 8-hour gun driver, the gentleman who stopped the police going in earlier, is he specifically under investigation, and what is the status of his employment? Has he been stood down pending investigation? What is the situation?
Okay. So every act by every official involved in this entire process is under the investigation conducted both by the Texas Rangers and by the FBI. Every act of all of those officials will be known and identified and explained to the public. But I cannot overemphasize enough, we need to get that information to the families of all these victims who deserve to know the most. As far as his employment status is concerned, that's something that is beyond my control and I have no knowledge about. Go for it. Sure.
You know, as the governor said, I'm not in law enforcement. I have not. I'm the mayor of the city, and once we know what took place, what went down, we'll get to the bottom of it and see. I've been just as confused as you are, because as the governor was, I got the same information that the governor got until yesterday afternoon. I was blown away, and again this morning, other information. So I don't have an answer for you yet, but I can tell you if we need to make changes in that, we will.